What's happening there, YouTube? Genji here, and welcome back to another episode of StarRupture. In the last one, we started what I eventually ended up calling the Electric Mesa here, even though it probably should have been called the Magnetic Mesa, because we are technically making electromagnetic coils, super magnets, and then eventually we're going to make electromagnets themselves. But for now, we have kind of a partial factory here that we're going to expand upon in the future. I'm going to start by putting a couple of dispatchers onto our storage V2 here. And if we look at Rupture Planner, it looks like we're going to have to send electromagnetic coils to two locations, electromagnets and laser emitters. Now, we're probably going to end up making electromagnets locally here, so we can probably rail it in, but I will go ahead and put down a dispatcher for it, simply because I had forgotten earlier that we were supposed to be railing in something. I think it might have been inductors. I know we put down a dispatcher specifically for pressurized helium. So we had three outputs for that, and then one of those, here we go, pressurized helium, one of those outputs was for electromagnetic coils. We had electromagnetic coils, we had liquid helium, and we had goethite powder. So that much is fine. So again, I'm going to put down a dispatcher I'm going to put down two dispatchers for electromagnetic coils, and then if we end up railing it in, then we just have an extra dispatcher that we're not going to end up using. So let's start with that. Just so we can say that we're done with this part of our factory here, so we'll put down two dispatchers. We're going to throw down two multi-rails, one here, one here. We'll take two outputs, here and here. Feed this in. Feed this in. There we go. We'll name this EM Coil TX1. Pulling in... excuse me? Why is that not automatically detecting electromagnetic coils? No, it is. This list is just so long. It's pulling in so many things that it shouldn't be. And we'll call this EM Coil TX2. There we go, and then we still have an extra output on the side here in case we decide to rail this into our next factory, but there we go. So now we're completely done with electromagnetic coils, so we can look ahead to what we're going to be working on today. So in between episodes, I've gone through Rupture Planner here, and basically at this point in the game, I want to be completely done with the left half of our build path here. I want to have everything that we're going to need up until like the Mega Press area completely done and set up with dispatchers so we don't ever have to think about putting in another factory for like rotors or for tubes, right? I just want to be able to focus on the mid-game and the late-game materials. So in between episodes, I set up three factories. These are all factories for lower-end materials that we're going to need in a couple of upcoming recipes here, and that I didn't think were really worth showing on camera, but I will walk you through them quickly before we get into today's build. First off, we have two factories here nestled together just to the south of our Electric Mesa. This is a factory for producing calcite sheets, which you're going to need later in this episode, and a factory for producing calcite powder. So all this is doing is extracting some raw calcium ore, smelting it into calcium blocks times 8, fabricating it into calcite sheets times 8, and then dispensing this, well, actually times 16, right? Because we have every smelter is 2 by 2, 2 every 2 seconds, and each calcite sheet fabricator is 1 every 2 seconds, so we can actually run 2 different fabricators off of each smelter. So we have 8 smelters, 16 fabricators running into 2 storage depots, and then into 4 dispatchers. So we'll be using those later, and then on the calcite powder front, we have 4 smelters feeding technically 5 furnace V2s making calcium powder, but I wound up actually not needing 2 of them that I wired up, so we're only using the output of 3 of these furnace V2s into 3 dispatchers, and this is all of the calcite sheets and all the calcium powder that we're going to need through the rest of the RTSC generator build. Second, we have a factory that's producing stabilizers. This consists of wolfram ore being smelted into wolfram bars in 2 smelters. This is feeding 3 machines, a furnace V2 producing wolfram powder, a fabricator V2 producing wolfram plates, and a fabricator V2 producing wolfram wire. We also have a cargo receiver that's receiving titanium rods. All these are feeding into a fabricator V2 that's producing rotors. Those rotors are then combining with another feed from our titanium rod receiver into 3 fabricator V1s producing stabilizers. These stabilizers then feed into a storage depot. Terrible timing. And then into a single dispatcher. That's all we're going to need for our further factoring today. So we have these available via dispatcher. And finally, we have a factory that's producing both titanium beams and titanium housings. This consists of 2 pure titanium nodes feeding a stretch of 8 smelters. These smelters are feeding 5 fabricators producing titanium beams and 3 fabricator V2s producing titanium sheets. These are being combined in 5 furnace V1s producing, I believe these are the titanium housings. And then all of that goes into storage depots and then finally into 2 dispatchers each for titanium beams and for titanium housings. So I didn't want to do these on camera because we've done these low-level materials or factories for these low-level materials several times in both Season 1 and Season 2. So I kind of want to save our on-screen time for factories for the higher-end stuff. So if we take a look again at Rupture Planner, it's hard to get a big picture view of just how much progress we've made so far because Rupture Planner doesn't let you zoom out enough to see the entire plot on one screen. But if we go through it bit by bit, we can see that we've pretty much covered all of this lower area. We've done all of our calcium productions. We've done our wolfram wire, ceramics is done, inductors are done, synth silicon is done, supermagnets, chemicals, glass is all done. Electronics and electromagnetic coils are all done. So if you pull this back, we do still need to do batteries and synth resin, but applicators, pressurized helium, and hardening agents are all done. Liquid helium needs to be done still. Tubes are done. Gothite powder is not done. Nozzles are not done. Turbines, sulfuric acid, rotors, wolfram steel ingots, and I think titanoferrite ingots we still need to do. But we're going to do that in today's episode, just so we can say this whole left side of the plot is done here. But stabilizers we just did, heat-resistant sheets, impellers. Actually, we still need a little bit of impeller production for pumps, so impellers is kind of half done. 1/2 is done for the turbines, then we need another 12 from a very small amount for pumps. Plastic is not done. And then up here in the corner, this is kind of half and half. So reinforced housings are not done. Stators are half done. We haven't done anything with oil yet. We've got gothite and reinforced frames, titanoferrite ingots. So we still have some work to do up here in the top left-hand corner, especially when it comes to powerium. But overall, titanium sheets, titanium rods, gothite ingots, titanium beams, titanium housings, this is all done. So we're getting close to getting over the hump of the middle section of the game, because as we go further up the tech tree, these are going to require fewer and fewer individual machines. So these factories will be much simpler and much more compact than all of these upstream factories that require just raw numbers, tons and tons of individual machines pumping out huge quantities of items. So we should see this last half of the tech tree go by pretty quickly. But I think for today's episode, we're going to start with... Let's start up here at the top left. Let's get wolfram steel ingots and titanoferrite production online. And if we switch back and take a look at the corporate terminal, in order to even get access to powerium, in order to check those boxes off of our list, we're going to have to do a couple levels worth of turn-ins for future health solutions, which is going to require us to start off with either substance FHS135493 or preferably liquid helium, because liquid helium is immediately accessible to us via the compounder. We can also do some turn-ins for stuff that we already have access to, like Griffith's Blue wants inductors and stabilizers, and then I believe every other corporation is one factory away from being able to turn in their next level. I know we can do pumps and gothite powder pretty easily with what we have available. Pressure tanks and reinforced housing should be doable, and lens might take 2 steps. I think lens requires access to synthetic resin, but reinforced frames, again, I think is doable for us pretty shortly. But either way, we need to start turning in some more corporate levels. So, again, we're going to start this episode off with a factory for titanoferrite ingots and for wolfram steel ingots. So let's head over to our gothite factory. So just to refresh our memory here, we have a total of 10 laser drills Each laser drill is producing 1 gothite ore every 4 seconds. That's 15 per minute for a total of 150 gothite ore per minute. This is feeding into currently a series of 5 pyroforges, and each one of these pyroforges is consuming the full output of 1 laser drill. So this is 1 every 4 to 1 every 4. So we have an additional 5 laser drills worth of gothite ore to work with here. So let's take a look at our pyroforge recipe for titanoferrite ingots and for wolfram steel. Let's put it here so we can grab... Oh, never mind. I crushed it. Anyway, in the pyroforge, wolfram steel ingots going to require raw gothite and raw wolfram. Gothite is being consumed at the rate of our laser drill output, so each one of these is going to require 1 full laser drill's worth of gothite ore. And it looks like it's the same for titanoferrite, so 1 gothite ore every 4 seconds, and then 10 titanium ore every 4 seconds. So if we look at our rupture planner, for our RTSC generator path, we're going to require 2 pyroforges making titanoferrite ingots. This is going to consume 245 titanium ore per minute, which is just over the theoretical limit of 240 for a single receiver. So we're going to need basically 2 dispatcher receiver combos feeding titanium ore into these pyroforges. And then for wolfram steel, we're going to need 3 pyroforges, which are being fed 329 wolfram ore. So in both cases, 2 sets of dispatcher receivers fully saturated with raw ores for titanium and for wolfram should be enough to satisfy our demand in our pyroforges here. So let's get that set up. For wolfram, we're going to head right back here to the north of our electric mesa in order to tap into some of these pure wolfram nodes that are just dotted around here in plenty. So we're going to grab 2 of these pure nodes and pipe them into dispatchers in order to send them over to our gothite factory over yonder. Just do a couple of extractors here. We'll put a couple of storage depots down. Lock our Z, say, here and here. We're going to need, what's the height on this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Let's grab supported platforms. 11's going to be 6 and 5. We're probably not going to be able to get 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just shy. So we're going to go down 1, lock our Z. Hit all 4 corners. Like so. A couple of pillars on each. Like so. Then a cargo dispatcher to cap it off. Let's put them this way. Just like that. Connect our rails. You to you. You to... I'm gonna be difficult, huh? You to you. There we go. We're gonna need a little bit of power. Wind turbine, unless we connect this to one of our existing factories, but we'll just stick another one right here for now. There we go. And connect this with a supported platform just so that we're all sharing one big pool of power. And finally, we need to string these depots up into these 1 to 1, 1 to 1, like so. Now we just set our inputs. Wolfram ore. Wolfram ore. These should both be pure wolfram nodes producing 8 every 2 seconds, so this should give us close to 240 per minute. We'll pull in wolfram ore, and then what are we going to call these? Looks like wolfram ore is only being used up to 9, so we'll start with wolfram 10 and wolfram 11. So you'll be W or TX10, and you'll be W or TX11. Here we go. Now for titanium. For titanium, we're going to head down here to the southeast part of the map, next to our original Powarium location that we had checked out. There's also a dome over here that we'll probably look at while we're here, but right behind me there are a number of titanium nodes. We have a pier node, and then between these 3 normal nodes we'll be able to combine 2 of these for another 240. So we'll set up some dispatchers on these to get these ready for our Gothite factories. So let's start with a base core, which we'll put over here to keep away from this little gaggle of vermin over here. Then ore excavators on the pier node and 2 of the normal nodes. I think this might be impure, so we'll take these 2 normal nodes here. We'll combine these 2 into another 240 rail with a rail modulator. One and 2. There we go. We'll bring this down in 1 rail support. And then we'll repeat storage depot. We've got a little bit more room here, so we don't need to stack this one. We'll just do storage depot. 1, 2, storage depot. Then dispatcher. 1, 2. Rail V3s. 1 for you. Grab it. Grab it. There we go. 1 for you. Loop it in. Loop it in. Apply a little power. Solar generator, or not solar generator, wind turbine, which will stick here on the side. Perfect. Set our inputs. Titanium ore. Titanium ore. Titanium ore. Titanium ore. I'm gonna have to look at what the next number is for our titanium ore dispatchers. It looks like 14 is our last use ore dispatcher for titanium. So let's break this. We'll do T-ore, TX15, and T-ore, TX16. There we go. And while we're here, let's pop our nose over here. Actually, while we're here, let me put down a teleporter, because we will need to come back here at some point in order to set up some Powarium extraction, and I would like to have a convenient way to get here that doesn't involve quite as much running. So we'll put this here. We'll call this Southeast Dome. There we go. I think that's fairly descriptive, so let's head on over here real quick. Okay, we got some helium deposits. We got some vermin. I think they're going to be able to stop us. Ooh, nice little lake here. Well, they're pouring out. Oh. Whoa. Check this place out. So I'm guessing we're going to need to get over there. So let's just speed run over to that side of this crater. It's a shame we can't access any of this calcium. Also, I don't have my stamina gen up. Let's do that real quick. Frame rate, please. Okay, there's a platform here. Keep moving. Alright, what's the path? We can just walk up here. We're looking for a blueprint box. We have a box down here, or a building down here. No blueprints in here. Ow. That was a little hectic. I didn't even see half of what happened because there weren't frames being generated for it. Alright, let's check this building over here, I guess. You got anything in here? Any blueprints? No blueprints? This is unmanageable. They really need to work on the frame rate. Ow. I don't see any more buildings. There's a box here with nothing in it. Hi, guys. We can go up here. Excuse me. Excuse me. Pardon me. The game is just like fully stopped now. Good grief. Okay, we can come up. We can go over here. Oh, there's another building down there, I see. Nothing here. I mean, there's a box, but that's not interesting. There it is. Come here. Give me everything in here. Ow. Alright. Let's get out of here. Alright, let's do a little more mopping up so we can get a clean getaway here. And what's sad is I'm running a 4090 with a 13900K and 64 gigs of RAM, so I don't think this is a hardware spec issue. I think this is just an optimization issue. Alright, let's drop a grenade. And frame gen on top of all that. Beautiful. Okay, so what did we abscond with there? We got condenser blueprint and gothite lattice blueprint. Interesting. Okay, but we'll definitely need those at some point. For now, let's hop back into our teleporter here and head back to our gothite field. Okay, so we're going to need 2 pyroforges and 3 pyroforges. So let me delete this one here and take a look at how our current layout is going to allow us to squeeze those in. So we have, if I recall, this is 150 per minute, so this one rail should be fine. We just need to put some receivers in here for each of our pyroforges so we can split a lane off for pyroforge on this side. You bring this down just like this. Flip this around. We just need to figure out where we're going to put our receiver. We can potentially put it above. What's the offset look like here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. We can do 14. It's going to be 12 and 2. So with the way our pyroforges are laid out directly touching on the side, we didn't give ourselves any room to put in pillars unless I space these out differently, but I want to try to reuse the same rail modulators. So we'll put our pillars in the back. So we'll do 1, 2, lock our Z. We'll do 1 on each side, then 2 pillars, 1, 2, and it should give us a total offset of 14. And we'll do a platform, connect this through. Oop, a little bit too far. And then we just need to get a cargo receiver up here. Right here. That might be okay. We just gotta get a rail from here down into here. It might be a bit of a curve. Nope, it's perfectly fine. Okay. So we'll do this into here. There we go. So we need 2 of these for titanoferrite ingots. So we'll cut.
Rupture activity detected. I recommend finding a safe place.
Never stop getting tired of that. All right, 1 more right here. And we're gonna do the same offset. Oh, we put a whole bunch of thermal capacity or thermal load on here as well. Let me dump a few of these in here so we don't lose access to this after the rupture. Oh, actually, that was just telling us if we placed another one, we wouldn't be able to accommodate it. So I just won't place another one until after the rupture here, but we will need to do probably another tower worth of base core amplifiers. So I'll see you after the rupture. There we go. I started by removing all of those solar panel V2s, which were 20 thermal load apiece, and replacing it with just a handful of wind turbines here. So that should save us some thermal capacity right off the bat. I'm gonna make one more of these cooling towers. There we go. That gives us a little bit more overhead to work with here. So let's head back over and pick up where we left off here. So we put down a pyro forge. It's going to need a receiver on top. So we'll take supported platforms, lock our Z. Oh. 1 and 2. The lag's getting to me. Pillar supports here and here. Stretch a platform across, like so. Slap a receiver on top, right here. Bring a rail down to the left. Auto-saving. Here we go. Bring that in. And that should be all of the titanoferrite ingot production we're going to need. Now, we do need to unlock the recipe still, I believe, so we're going to need to go to the recipe station and bring some titanium ore and probably some gothite ore. Let me pop up here and set these receivers up. This is going to be T-Ore RX-15. T-Ore RX-15. This is going to be T-Ore RX-16. To TX16. There we go. Alright, I don't want to run all the way back, so I'm just going to plop down a hab right here. Because everything we'll be collecting is going to be right here anyway. So we'll put this here. Airlock. We need a recipe station. For producing in a pyro forge, titanoferrite ingots is going to be 200 gothite and 800 titanium ore. Okay. We're ready for turn in. Pyro forge, titanoferrite ingot, 200, 800, and 2,000 data points, and we're unlocked. So we'll set these two pyro forges to produce titanoferrite and titanoferrite. Here comes our ore. Flowing in. Here comes our production. So we're producing 10 every 4 seconds. That's 15 times 10. That's 150 a minute, so we have 300 total between these two. But let's take a look at our rupture planner to see how many different dispatchers these are going to need to go to. So titanoferrite ingots times 2 pyroforges are going to 3 different locations. We have reinforced frames, we have gothite lattice, and we have way down here heat-resistant sheets, which are already covered with V1 furnaces, so we don't actually need this third dispatcher here. So we're just going to make 2 dispatchers, one for reinforced frames and one for gothite lattice. So I'm going to set up a multi-rail here. We're going to collect each one of these into one of our multi-rail. Actually, let's bring this down a bit. Let's match the level of our pyro forges. Rotate, lock our Z. We'll put one here. We'll put one here. So we'll bring this out into the middle. We'll bring this out into the left. Bring this forward. Now we're going to need 3 pyro forges for Wolfram steel. So that's going to be this slot, and this slot. So I think what I'll do is turn this to the right. And we'll set our dispatchers up right behind this. So we'll do dispatcher 1 right here. Rotate, bring this down. I think that's the correct Z level. One here. One here. And I guess we'll just give each one of these their own dedicated pyro forge. We probably, because we don't need them for those heat-resistant sheets, we're probably actually making too many, but that's completely fine because we have enough gothite ore allocated to that. But we're not pulling from any resources that we're going to need elsewhere. We've accommodated for all this, so there's no harm in overproducing, right? So we'll put this as Titanoferrite ingot, TF ingot TX1. Titanoferrite. This will be TF ingot TX2. Titanoferrite ingot. Here they come. Okay. Now let's do Wolfram Steel. We know we're going to need 3 Pyroforges. And I guess before we set these up, let's check and make sure that there's nothing like the heat-resistant sheaths where we're making ingots that we're not actually going to need. So let's switch back to Rupture Planner. So Wolfram Steel is going to 3 locations, heat-resistant sheets. There we go. So we can remove 44 of these. We need 204 for reinforced housing, and we need 81 for Wolfram Steel ingots. So if we take 44 Wolfram Steel ingots away from 329, we need 285 total to fulfill the demand for our other 2 factories here. So we can actually produce that. Each one of these is making 150, so that's 300 total, and we only need 285. So 2 Pyroforges doing Wolfram Steel ingots should be more than enough. So that saves us 1 Pyroforge worth of heat that we have to deal with. So we'll put this here, and we'll put this here. We'll put down our platforms. Lock our Z. 1. This is too high up, so we're actually going to need to go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Lock our Z there. We're going to put a platform here, here, and here. And then we'll bring this back up again by 6. And this should put these pillars level with this platform here. So then we'll just go up 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Stretch a platform across all of these. Like this. Now hopefully adding an extra pillar here isn't going to throw off our structural calculation. We'll see what happens when we try to put this down here. Bring this up. It is. Tragic. So how much do we have here? We need to cover this. We don't have that. We can do 4, 3. So if we just had some more pillars in the back, we should have more than enough support. So we're going to put down a few more of these. Supported platforms. Let's just go straight across. Well, we can't go all the way across because we do need to come out from here. So what if we come in by 1 on each side? That works. Okay. Perfect. 1 here. 1 here. Right? We're just over on our thermal calc. Well, we're going to need to put down 2 dispatchers as well, so we're going to be a little bit further over than that. But we'll deal with that in just a minute. So we need out from our receivers into our Pyroforges. 1, 2. We'll split off our Gothite ore. There we go. Set up our receivers. These are going to be pulling down Wolfram ore 10 and 11. So this will be W ore RX 10 and W ore RX 11. Like so. We need to unlock the recipe for Wolfram steel bars. So let's head back to our recipe station. Pyroforge. All right. Same allocations, 200 Gothite, 800 Wolfram ore. Okay. Pyroforge, 200 Gothite ore, 800 Wolfram ore, 2,000 data points, and we're golden. So we don't need this anymore. Let's set our recipe after we autosave. There we go. Wolfram steel ingots. Wolfram steel ingots. Our Wolfram's coming down. Our Gothite's coming down. We're smelting, and again, this is 150 per minute. 60 divided by 4 is 15. 15 times 10 is 150. 150 times 2 is 300 per minute. So we're going to collect these similarly to our titanoferrite ingots. Let's set up multi-rails. I guess we can come this way. We'll just mirror this. 1, 2. 1, 2. We'll take, we'll go outside, which will then become the inside. We'll bring this into here. We'll rotate this way. Like so. Bring this through. We can then copy our dispatchers, rotate them around here and here. Rail V3s, we need a little bit more power. There we go. Perfectly balanced, as all things should be. A little more power. One turbine will do it. We are now pretty severely over our core overheat level, so let me deal with that. If you're doing these cooling towers like me, and you have an existing set of cooling towers that you're building onto, you can actually skip a lot of the setup steps for this by just putting a single platform on each one of these existing base core amplifiers. And what this will let you do is, if we come back down here, we can just copy this, bring this up, and there's enough support that we can, for the vast majority of these, just place them at the same level as our existing cooling towers. This makes this much quicker. And then for these, we'll just go back to our pre-placing our platforms. And we can continue this for just about all of the new cooling tower. There we go. That gets us to 2570 of 2600 total, which is just enough to contain all the new stuff that we built here. So let's set up our dispatchers here, and we'll be done with this part of our factory. So we're going to be bringing in wolfram steel ingots. So we'll call these WS ingot TX1, Wizingot, WS ingot TX2. Why is this not... Oh, wrong rail. This needs to come from the middle, not the left. There we go, wolfram steel ingots. Okay, so there's our titanoferrite ingots and our wolfram steel ingots, and that closes off another couple of nodes there on the left-hand side of the rupture planar. So we'll take a look at that again. So with wolfram steel complete and titanoferrite complete, that cuts off the... or completes the gothite stretch of the left upper side here. We do still need to take care of powerium, which is in this section, but we'll need to unlock a couple of corporate levels for that. So that leads us into reinforced frame, which does not require powerium. We can do reinforced frames, we can do gothite lattice, and we can do reinforced housing, it looks like. But before we start heading into those, let's take care of some corporate levels here. So Griffith's Blue wants inductors and stabilizers. Those are super easy to do because we have those available. We're going to drop down an OCL. We're going to hook this up to our inductors, which are right here. I've been talking about doing this for like 2 episodes now. Oh. Eventually I'll need to upgrade all of our power here, but I'll drop down a wind turbine on the side for now. There we go. What's weird is I put an OCL V2 here before. It hasn't put us over. I'm curious what I added to this in the meantime. So we're going to deliver to Griffith's Blue. We're going to get 70 for every inductor. That should go quickly.
Yes.
And there we go.
All rewards from the Griffith's Blue Corporation are waiting to be claimed.
That sounded like a new voice line. I've never heard the AI voice go, yes! Seems a little odd coming from her, but let's see. Griffith's Blue. Auto-saving. I swear I spend more of this game waiting for frames to render than actually playing the game. Okay, next up is Gothite ore, which should be easy as well. But let's take a look at getting something that we're actually going to be able to make use of. So Future Health wants liquid helium in exchange for LEMs, which we'll need to go through to get access to the oil extractor. So let's set up some temporary liquid helium. Let's see. What is liquid helium going to ask of us? We're going to need to make this in a compounder. Liquid helium wants hardening agent and pressurized helium, which we have available in ample quantities. So let's go unlock that recipe. For that, they're asking for 400 pressurized helium and 600 hardening agent. Okay, should be all set. So this is made in a compounder. We have 400 pressurized helium, I grabbed 8, so we have more hardening agent than necessary, and 1,500 data points, and we're golden. Okay, actually, you know what? While I've got this extra stuff here, compounder, I'm just going to cram it into lens. Pay it forward. Okay, for this next factory, we're going to try to use some of these flat lands either here or maybe over here. And this is just to the northwest of our smelting basin. Before we go over to there, I just noticed that there's a abandoned facility right here. So we're going to go do another run into here, a place we have not been yet according to the map, and see if there's a blueprint available for us. We got some resistance. We're going to run right on by. This one looks pretty simple. There's just a couple of building fragments here. Let's see. This is going to be a climbing job. No blueprint here at all. Nothing over here. We've got some lore tablets. Oh, here's some more buildings. You'd think the blueprint would be in the area with the infection, but let's take a look here. Crouch in here. We can go up. Oh, here's our blueprint. Take all this. Ow. And let's get out of here. Excuse me. Go, go, go. Huh. Freedom! Okay, I think we lost our tail, so let's see what we absconded with. We got... looks like nothing new here, so that must have just been duplicate blueprints. That's too bad. Risked our life for nothing. However, there is a nice flat build area right over here next to this lake. Auto-saving. And next to a powerium deposit, so let's set up a little factory over here. Here we go. The frame rate seems a bit more stable here than over in our Electric Mesa area. So let's plop down a compounder. I want to see what our recipe... oh, right.
Detecting increased rupture activity. Prepare for a wave.
I'm so sick of ruptures. Base core. We're just going to plop one down. Compounders. Let's take a look at our ratios here. So liquid helium. This manufacturing recipe requires 1 pressurized helium, 1 hardening agent every 3 seconds. So this is 20 operations per minute. So 20 pressurized helium, 20 hardening agent per minute. And we're going to need 8 of these V1 compounders. Now, if we happen to get access to compounder V2s, this can be simplified into 2 compounder V2s. However, that's going to require us to unlock every recipe for compounders, which is not really feasible for us to do right now. So we'll just go ahead with 8 compounders. We've already calculated and accounted for the amount of hardening agent and pressurized helium we're going to need for this recipe. We're going to build 8 compounders, each pulling in 20 per minute, That's 160 each, which should easily fit onto a V3 rail for each one. So this should be relatively painless for us to set up, other than maybe the thermal hit of 8 compounders. But we'll have to set that up after this rupture, so we'll see you in just a bit. Okay, now that we can actually play, let's throw down 1. And let's see what our vertical offset's going to be. We need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So we should be able to do a stack of, or I should say 4 stacks of 2. So if we space these each out by 1, like so, we should be able to do at level supported platforms on each corner. Like so. And then 2 platforms on each for a total of 12 vertical offset. Cap each of these with a platform. And let's see if that's enough support at a height of 3, I guess technically, platforms. This needs to face this way to match. And we do have enough support. We'll put another 4 of these. And we're already over our initial 1,000 thermal units. 1,200 of 1,000. But we'll deal with that in a bit. We've got some time. So we're now going to need 1 receiver each for pressurized helium and for hardening agent. So we'll do, and we want to distribute this. We want to do top and bottom. I think that should be fine. We're just going to need another set of pillars here. Do supported platform at level. That's not at level. Then 2 pillars. 1, 2, then 2 platforms, then a second receiver right here. And we'll set up our rail modulators headed in this direction. Let's bring 1 set down like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the other set is going to be traveling in the opposite direction like this. So we're going to have something akin to this, and let's see, we can do this with these already in place. So we'll turn these around like this, and this is going to look like this. We're going to come out of here. Let's just do this into a rail support immediately. Down 1. Down 1. Out. Send this to the right. Straight through. We'll break this off to the left. Wrap this around like that. We'll continue this in this direction. We need a rail modulator facing this way at the default height. Then we're going to loop this up and continue it like this, but we're going to swap places here. So this is going to come down 1. And then next to this is going to be the full-size rail modulator facing in this direction. Like this, so that we can bring this to the left. Just like this. So then this will group off to the right for facing in the direction of travel. This will loop to the right. Is it there? Yeah, it's there. And then we just need to loop this up on this end. So we just need a couple of multi-rails. 1 here. 1 here. And then this will accommodate both of these. So we're going to need 1 set going, we'll take middle, right? Because it's going to be looping off to the left into this machine. Like this, we'll loop 1 off to the left. Bring this down here. And then bring this back into this side, which will then continue in this direction. And then from down here, we'll come into the outside, bring this up And this can go right into here. There we go. So now this is both bringing down and sending up our sets of rails. So this will continue in this direction. We're going to loop one off here. Copy this. Copy. No, not the compounder. Whatever. Rail modulator. Spin this around. Bring it up. Bring it down. Lock our Z. This is on this side now. So 1, 2, and 3. Then we're going to spin this around. Bring it up 1. I hate that that resets your Z. Lock our Z. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we already have one here. It should be all the modulators we need. We just need to finish hooking up the rails. So this guy is good. This guy needs one facing this way. Send it forward. Loop it out. Send it forward. Loop it out. Send it forward. And can we grab this? Oh, that's too far. Oh, this is not a compounder. Whoopsie. Okay, so that's all of our compounders for our bottom receiver. Let's set up our top receiver now. So we're going to take a rail support. We'll go on the same tile, but above. Default height for this one. Bring it out. Send it to the right. Modulate to the left. Send it forward. Repeat this pattern all the way down. There we go. This one's already taken care of. This one goes into our multi-rail to loop down. Comes out here. Goes to the right. We'll send this forward. Break this off. Send it forward. Break that off. Send it forward. Break that off. Please. Autosave. There we go. And that should be all of our compounders wired up. So next we're going to need some power. Now before we apply power, let's set everything up so that when we apply power, everything will just work auto-magically. So we're going to need pressurized helium. Our first available pressurized helium is PHE3TX2. This will be PHE3RX2. And then up top, we're going to need hardening agent. First available is hardening agent TX1. So this will be H agent RX1. We're going to set all of our recipes for liquid helium. Liquid helium. And liquid helium. Okay, now we can apply our power. Which I may want to consider putting in a separate base core area, a separate power plant, but for right now, we'll jump this here. Because I'll probably also want to put our synth resin manufacturing here. This will just be like our compounder corner. But that should be it. So we'll just wait for our ingredients to come in. Here it comes. There they go. And once these loop around... Hey! Don't touch that! Once these loop around... We're compounding. Alright. Let me go deal with our friends. Okay, how are we looking on filling up our internal buffers? We should be okay. It looks like our manufacturing time is slow enough. And our item draw is low enough. We're just taking one of each every cycle. That we don't need to buffer our receivers. We're not completely depleting our stores. All of our compounders are running at 100% efficiency. Here comes a fresh load. Yeah, I think we should be fine here without using buffers off of our receivers. So let's calculate our output. So our output is 1 every 3 seconds. That's 20 per compounder times 8. That's 160 total. So we can fit all of these onto one V3 rail. if I can get some frames here. Good grief. So, let's set up a rail modulator to collect all of these to... Let's go to the left, so we can set our dispatchers up over here. So we'll rotate these in this direction. Lock our Z. 1, 2, 7, and 8. Connect up our rails. Send it along. There we go. Now we'll collect both of these sets of modulators into another modulator. One here. One here. And then ultimately into a storage depot V2. We'll wrap this around to here. Frames. Collect our liquid helium. And here it comes. So before we set this up into dispatchers, let's first deliver our due to our corporation. So we're going to set up an OCL V2 right next to it. Rail V3 into here. We're going to be delivering to whom? Future Health wants liquid helium. We'll let this deliver. While we wait on that, I had a comment on the last video saying that somebody was able to solve some of their performance issue by deleting any spare platforms that they had, and that actually improved their frame rate even when that factory wasn't on screen or when they were across the map from it. So I don't know how much that's actually going to help us, but I am going to go through in this factory and a couple of others where I think we did some large stretches of platforms and delete any extraneous platforms. And we'll see if that actually does any good for our frame rate, because it's getting kind of bad. Hello? Oh, come on.
Great work.
And there we go.
Future Health Solutions is now receiving all requested items. New rewards and tasks are waiting for you in the terminal.
Fantastic. So next here, they're going to want condensers and nano syringe. I've never manufactured either of these before. These are update 1 materials, so we're going to break this down. And before the next rupture, I'm going to have to deal with our thermal capacity here, so let me get another cooling tower set up here. Okay, there are 3 cooling towers to tide us over for now. We're going to need a little bit more if we're going to put 7 more compounders on here, but at least we'll survive the next rupture. But for now, we're going to take a look at a rupture planner and see how many places we need to dispatch this liquid helium to. The rupture planner says we need this to go to 4 different locations. So we're going to need liquid helium in epoxy, in resonators, in accumulators. No, this is aerogel. And then basic fuel. So we're going to set up 4 dispatchers. Now we only have 3 outputs available from our storage depot, but resonators are only going to be pulling down 12 helium per minute, which is small enough that we should be able to chain this off of, or chain a second dispatcher off of one of these leads without worrying about stretching our supply too thin. So we'll load up a multi-rail, and we're going to set up, I guess we're going to go right here around the back where there's enough flat, semi-flat ground at least to put down 4 of these in a row without having to change elevations. So we'll do 1, 2, 3, 4 here in the back. We'll bring our multi-rail through here. And this is going to be up 1 level, so we're going to go here, down 1. Like so. This should keep our rails level. And then we'll do 1, 2. And then from here, I guess we'll have to do a rail modulator. And then do 3. And then 4, like this. We need to bring these down 1 level, though, to keep our rails straight. Rail modulator, down 1. And then rail support, down 1. Okay, let's see how this is going to shake out. So we have our 3 rails coming in here. We're going to send these forward. Inside out around the corner. 1, 2, 3. Break this off. Send it forward. Break this off. Send this forward. Then we're going to break this off. And our final destination. So, I think what we'll do, just so that we're not confused and having to look this back up later on, we're going to call this one, we're going to pull in liquid helium, and we're going to say liquid HE3 4 resonators. And let's see what we can pair this up with. So resonators are only pulling in 12 per minute, so we're going to take the next lowest, so we have 53, 54, and 30. So we'll take this 30, we'll put our 12 and our 30 on the same leg of our output, so the other will be HE3 for fuel. Right here, liquid HE3 for fuel. Liquid helium, there we go. And then these two don't really matter as much. We'll just call these liquid HE3 TX1 and liquid HE3 TX2. And there we go. One more checked off the list. Okay, so let's take a look. In order to unlock the next level of future health, we're going to need to manufacture either condensers or nano syringes. Now, those are going to be made in an assembler, it looks like. I see condensers. I don't see nano syringe, but we can go for condensers here. So we're going to have to unlock assembler before we can unlock the next level of future health. And to unlock the assembler, we're going to have to deliver a level of Selenium Corporation. Selenium Corporation wants pumps or gothite powder. So let's take a look at Rupture Planner. And Rupture Planner says we're going to be making 3 compounders worth of gothite powder. This is going to be pulling in, let's follow this lead. We're going to zoom way out. This is gothite ingot times 70, I believe, 70.9. We're also going to have pressurized helium times 70.9. And then finally, calcium powder times 70.9. Okay, so we're going to build 3 compounders for gothite powder, and then this is going to be distributed to 1, 2, 3 different dispatchers. So for this one, we're going to set these up a little bit differently. We only need 3 of these, and we need 3 receivers, 1 for each of the input materials. So we're going to bring these in underneath our compounders. Let's see how this is going to line up. We can do right in the middle. So let's lock our Z. We're going to bring this back 1, 2. We're going to place 1. Leave a gap of 2. That should realign us to the center again. No, we need to go 1 more because of the pillar. Copy this. 1, 2, 3. Then 1, 2, 3. Just like that. And we're going to bring this up by 12. Our pillars are right here. So we'll put these at level with our receivers, bring this out 1, place it here, and then we're going to go back 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Place 1 here. Here. And here. Just like that. Unlock our Z. 2 pillars on each. Just like that. Then a platform on each. Now we should be able to copy our compounder. Copy. Thank you. Flip this around. Bring it up. Lock our Z. 1, 2, 3. Now we're going to make each one of these receivers a different material, and we're going to bring these to the right, and then we're going to loop it just like we did with this set. We're going to loop it up and then bring it and distribute it to our 3 compounders here. So to get these railed up, we're going to bring a multi-rail support. I think these can be at level because they don't need to be set to different heights until we get up top. So we'll do a rail support, a multi-rail support, and a multi-rail support. All these will be at level to start. I'll bring this forward. This will become the middle. No, this will be the outside. This will be the middle. We'll bring these two forward, please. That will be the inside. There we go. Now we'll loop these up like we did before. One at height. One here. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. There's our distribution. Now we're going to set our different heights. So we need rail modulators for this, or rail connectors. I'm not quite sure how I want to do this yet. Let's take a look at what is available to us. These are extra wide, so we've got some extra room. We might be able to do rail modulators. So bring this down, 1, 2. We'll bring this down, 1. We'll bring this to height. Now, if I put... Frames, please. If I put this down, 1, 2. And I put this down, 1. Can these wrap around their immediate partners? So if I go from here, can we go to here? We cannot. Okay, so this has to be done in rail connectors. Rail connectors it is, so we'll center them around our input here. So we'll do at height, then we'll do down 1, and then we'll do down 1 again. And we'll repeat that here. 1, up 1, and then back to default height. And one more time. And down 1 again. So we should be able to sweep these. We'll do our half wave pattern. If I can get some frames like this. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Then we'll bring each one of these rails into one of these connectors. So 1, 2, and 3. And then we'll bring each one of these into our compounders. 1, 2, and 3. And 3. Just like so. Okay, let's set our receivers here. Oh god. Please. We're gonna need gothite ingots. Okay, for whatever reason, I only set up 3 of our, like, 6 gothite ingot dispatchers that we need. So I'm gonna go ahead and set up 1, 2, 3 more dispatchers for gothite ingots here, because we don't have any available. Okay, just like that. So we have 6 total dispatchers now. So let me name these last few. I think we left off on 3. TX2. TX3. So we'll call this Gothite Ingot TX4. Gothite Ingot TX5. And Gothite Ingot TX6. Autosaving. There we go. Each of these have dedicated rails, and if I recall correctly, we're modulating these so that both of these should have full access, and we don't have, like, one that's only receiving a partial. But I think we should be good, so let's head back. Okay, now we should be able to set this to Gothite Ingot TX4. We'll call this Gothite Ingot RX4. This is going to be pressurized helium. PHE3 TX3. We'll call this PHE3RX3. And then this should be calcium powder, if I'm remembering correctly. So available C powder TX1 CPWDR RX1. There we go. Now we have to unlock this recipe still, so let's take a look at a recipe station. Alright, inside a compounder, in order to make gothite powder, we're gonna need 400 gothite ingots, which I was smart and brought with us from our gothite smelting area. We're gonna need 400 pressurized helium and 800 calcium powder. So let me stick this in. And then it's probably gonna be quicker if I run back to our Mesa base and grab these directly from the source rather than waiting for our cargo receivers to drone them all in. So let me go grab these, I'll be right back. Okay, we should be ready here. Compounder. Gothite powder, 400, 800, 2,000 data points, and unlocked. Let's crush this. Thank you. Let's crush a calorie gel.
Tasty.
Let's get up top here, set our recipes. Gothite powder. Gothite powder. Gothite powder. Alright. Now let's apply a little power. Wind turbine. Right here next to the water. I guess we'll connect these with platforms just so that our turbines can be sharing between our stacks. So we're gonna wait for our receivers to receive. There they are. Things are flowing. Calcium powder. Liquid helium. Gothite ingots. I see the magic smoke is flowing. Our frame rates are dropping from the magic happening inside these compounders, and there we go. Gothite powder. So we're making 4 every 2 seconds. That's 120 per minute. Auto-saving. So that's what, 360? 120, 240, 360. So we'll collect all these together in a single rail. To the left. Lock our Z. 1, 2, 3. Rails out. Send it forward. Rails out. Send it forward. We'll bring this down to a storage depot V2. Right here should be fine. We only need a single rail support here. We're not modulating anything this time. In the side. And then collect gothite powder. Here it comes. Now we'll set up a OCL V2. Oop. In, please. There we go. And we'll set this up for delivery to Selenium Corporation. They're going to give us 100. Wow, pumps are significantly more valuable. 100 per. There we go.
You've been named Convict of the Month.
Well,
Upon your return
yippee.
to Earth, you will receive a certificate and a commemorative mug.
Okay, we'll break those down. We'll let these build up. Let's stick our extra gothite powder into here. And I'm pretty sure, let's double check, we need to send this to 3 locations. Yep, that's correct. We're going to epoxy, aerogel, and basic fuel. So let's set up our dispatchers. Let's see. We don't well, we might have a straight line here if we just go through these rocks. So if we do lock our Z, 1, 2. That's as close to a straight line as we can get. We'll take a multi-rail. Head off in this direction. One at each dispatcher. Take our output feeds into our multi-rail. Hey. A little funky, but it works. Okay, and then we'll go into our dispatchers. 1, 2, 3 feeds, just like that. Hopefully those guys stay over there. And then we'll set this up as Gothite Powder TX1. Gothite Powder TX2. And Gothite Powder TX3. Beautiful. Okay, there's another one down. So, let's hop back into a recipe station and claim our assembler. And by recipe station, I meant corporate terminal, so Selenium Corporation Assembler. Okay, we only have 2 left. We have the Constructorizer and the Factorizer, and I think that's all for the actual manufacturing buildings. Let's just take a peek. Yep, we're getting pretty close. We've got oil extraction to get raw resources. So yeah, Constructorizer and Facturer are yet to be unlocked, but for the next level of Selenium, we're going to need scanners and epoxy. For future health, we're going to need condensers and nano syringe, which I guess we can look at the recipe for now because we have the assembler unlocked. So for those, we're going to need condensers is resonators, nanofibers, and pumps. And then the other one is not in here, so that must be an even higher level item. So yeah, we're still quite a ways off from powerium extraction. So let's bust all this down. And where are we at? We're a little over 4 hours. I wonder if we have enough time for one more row of condensers. Let's see. So for synthetic resin, we're going to need 367.5 sulfuric acid per minute. That's 2 receivers worth of sulfuric acid, but when we set up our dispatchers for sulfuric acid, we were matching our dispatchers to the number of outputs on our storage depots instead of the number of outputs that we're going to need receivers for. So if we look at sulfuric acid, we can see that this might be the most used material in the game. This goes to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different destinations, and we only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 currently dispatchers set up. So we have 1 that's still available, but we're going to need 2 for our synthetic resin. So what I'm going to do temporarily until we can refactor this output or these dispatchers for our sulfuric acid is we're using sulfuric acid currently for our turbine manufacturing. We're only pulling down 72 for our turbines. So this dispatcher right here for sulfuric acid is TX1. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to split or put a modulator on TX1 so that we can send 72 to our turbines and then send the rest on another dispatcher to our synthetic resin. So I've already set that up here. This is our output into dispatcher 1. I've dropped a modulator on this. So we'll have 1 input into TX1, and then we have another dispatcher here set up for TX6. Okay, we're back at Compounder Bay. So I have split our compounder area up between 2 different base cores for now. We have one over here with our cooling stack handling our stack of 8 compounders, and we have a brand new core over here that's going to be handling our additional 7 compounders, plus our 3 for Gothite powder. So I will need to put some cooling stacks on this, but for right now, I'm going to place down our row of 7 compounders. We'll lock our Z here, and we're going to come out 1, 2 along this row here, I believe. No, 1 further. So there's our gap This will be 1. And then what I'll probably do is, because we need something like 5 receivers, I'm going to shunt this forward 1. So we'll be right here. This will be 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then we'll go up from here and do 5, 6, and 7. And then our receiver stack is going to be right here. And we're going to need 4 for calcite sheets, 2 for sulfuric acid, and 1 for hardening agent. So that's 4, 5, 6, 7 of these total, actually. Which means we're actually going to have to do some creative routing here, because that's more than we're going to be able to squeeze onto a 480 rail. So we'll have to do this. Let's see. We're going to need 2 receivers modulated together will give us a 480 rail of calcite sheets. And if we look at the recipe for synthetic resin, which we don't have unlocked yet. Oh, never mind. That's the default recipe that we get with the compounder. Okay, so synthetic resin is 1 every 3 seconds, and we need 6 calcite sheets. So that's 20 times 6 is 120. That means we can fit on a 480 rail, we can fit 4 of these. So we'll do 1, 2, 3, 4 on 1 row. And then we need another 2, technically, because it's going to slightly exceed, the other 3 are going to slightly exceed the 240 that we have from a single receiver. So we'll do 2 for calcite sheets for this row, and then 1 sulfuric acid, right? Because they're pulling down 3, so it's half of that, so it's 60, 120, this will be 240 on this row. So we'll have 1 of these receivers for sulfuric acid. Right here. And then we'll end up having to split a single receiver of hardening agent between all 7 of these, because that ratio is 1 every 3 seconds, which is 20 per machine, times 7 is 140 hardening agent total across all 7 machines. So that can be handled by a single rail. So how do we want to lay this out? Let's start by getting our second row on here. So we'll put this at level, lock our Z, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, auto-saving, 9, 10, so that's all of our compounders. And for our receivers, we'll do the outside edges in the back, and then we'll say the outside edges of the center one. I think 4 pillars here should be enough. Cap these off. Copy. Copy, copy, copy. No. Cargo receiver. Lift us up. We're probably going to need a stretch of platforms here. How about now? Lift it up. There we go. 1, 2, and 3. So that's another 2 calcite sheets and 1 sulfuric acid. Now we need to get our compounders up. 1, 2. Pillars on each. Platforms for all. Bring our compounders up. Facing this way. Lock it. 1, 2, and 3 makes 7. Now, we need to place 1 more receiver. Where do we want to do that? Maybe we do our 7th here? And we take this one down. And we do an extra receiver here. We're gonna need some extra platforms to make this work. Like so. Expanded base. I'll put this right here. I guess we don't need these. Break those down. Okay. So, we don't need this either. So, our rail setup. Again, we know with the compounders, we're going to need to do 3 rail connectors. So we'll go down 1, 2. We're going to reverse this because all of our materials are coming from the left this time. So we'll do up 1, up 1 again. We'll repeat this for every compounder. Default height, down 1, down 2. Okay. Now we're going to string our rails through. So we'll do our half wave pattern all the way through. There we go. And then we'll handle our inputs. So let's take... We want hardening agent to be the top, so we'll take... Let's modulate our calcite sheets on the bottom. We'll go down 1, 2. And then a rail support here, down 1, 2. This will be our calcite sheets. Into here, into here. We'll bring this forward. Next, we'll do our sulfuric acid right here. Down 1. Out. And to the right. Nice and straight. We'll do the same up top. We'll put a modulator next to our rightmost receiver, down 1, 2. Bring this to the right. We'll put a rail support on the next one, bring it down 1, 2. And we're modulating our calcite sheets together. Just like that. We're gonna bring our sulfuric acid in here. Down 1. Yeah, it should be right there. Got off by 1 somehow. Okay, we'll bring this to the right. Nice and straight. And for our hardening agent, I'm going to use a rail connector. I guess we'll go here to get some support. We're going to go from our receiver into the back of our rail connector. We'll send 1 to the right for the top row. And then we're going to have to loop this down to here. We can do with a rail support at full height. Let's see, can we go from here to the back side of this and then send this to the right? Like that. Perfect. Okay, so there's all of our rails except for the actual inputs into our machines. So let me give him some water before he dies. And then we'll hook up our inputs into our machines. 1, 2, 3. 2, and 3. There we go. That should be all of our rails. Now we need to set recipes and connect our receivers. So we said the 2 in the front are going to be for calcite sheets. So we'll make this one T sheet RX1 connected to TX1. Then T sheet RX2 connected to TX2. Then T-sheet RX3 connected to TX3, and T-sheet RX4 connected to TX4. And we'll do our sulfuric acid. So we'll do the one that has 4 on it. We'll give the dedicated 240 over here. So this is going to be sulfuric acid TX5. We'll take SACD RX5. And then up here, right here, we'll connect this to number 6. This will be SACD RX6. And then finally, one hardening agent. Right here, we're going to take H agent TX2, connect to H agent RX2. Perfect. Now let's set our recipes. Synth resin, and synth resin. Okay. We should be ready for some power. Let's see. Is a single platform gonna be enough? There we go. We have enough power already. So let's wait for all of our materials to come in. There they are. We're off to the races. We're splitting our hardening agent. We've got sulfuric acid. We've got calcite sheets. Our compounders are releasing the magic smoke. So you know it's good. And there we go. We're making synthetic resin every 3 seconds. And unfortunately, I think we're going to need to install some buffers. I think the draw on the calcite sheets and the sulfuric acid is just a bit too high. So let's see how we can finagle some storage depots in here. I guess if we moved all of our receivers back by 2, we can then put the storage depots in the front. So let's rework it that way. Let's see, so this is T-sheet RX2. We'll destroy this. We're gonna send this back 1, 2. We'll put a storage depot in the front. Rail out into here. C-sheet TX2. C-sheet RX2. Calcite sheets. Okay, hardening agent is set back up. We'll set this to hardening agent, dump in the rest of this, and it should be everything refactored with buffers in the front. Now, it's going to be hard to get a good idea of whether or not this is going to work until we empty some of these out, because these have had time to buffer up while sitting idle.
Yes.
So I'm going to steal the inputs out of these. 1, 2, 3. And I should probably also steal the outputs. Give me everything. Give me it all. Steal the outputs. Steal, 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 steal. We're filling up. We're filling up. We're definitely filling up fast enough. Our sheets are returning to at least 27 every time. 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 25, 26, 27, 31. So we are slowly building up, which is good. Our buffers are staying full. We're at 97. We're at 97. Okay, I think we're good. Sulfuric acid, I don't think has been running long enough. We're slowly 87, 88, 87. We're hovering. We're going up. Okay, I think we're good. So I'm gonna dump as much of this as I can into here. And into here. We'll get rid of the extra stuff over here. Here, I'll trade you. I'll take this, you can keep this. The fox is back in my backyard. I don't know if you can hear her on the microphone. Anyway, I think we're good for synthetic resin production. Let's see, we are producing 1 every 3 seconds. That's 20 per machine times 7. We're making 140. Which is more than we're actually going to need, but that's fine. So let's take a look at Rupture Planner and see just how many dispatchers we're going to need here. Rupture Planner says we're going to need 3 outputs, 1 for lenses, 1 for electromagnets, and 1 for epoxy. So we'll put 3 dispatchers on here. Collecting these all with modulators. Like so. We'll send all of these to the left. And this will go into here. This will come down into the last modulator. There we go. Collecting all of our outputs. And finally, we're going to put these into a storage depot here on the end. Up 1, I suppose. Send this into the back. We'll collect synthetic resin. And here she comes. Okay, last thing for today, other than I'm going to set up our cooling towers off camera here because I'm probably going to go over our rupture on this. We just set up 3 dispatchers here, 3 dispatchers here. And we'll do this off to this side, I suppose. We're going to run directly into a Vulpir nest, so we may need to send this back a bit. Maybe we'll go here. Set our level. Is this going to be good? No, I want to go up. 1 more. That should be okay, so we'll go... We'll go forward 1, we'll go to here. We just need to go back far enough to not hit this Vulpir nest, so we'll do 1, 2, and 3. We'll set up our multi-rails. 1, 2, and 3. These are going to need to wrap around here. Should we... We can collect these into here. Let's see, is this going to be okay? Yes, okay, so if we can take this into here, this into here, and this into here with the assistance of a rail support, like so, or maybe we do it... Can we do it off to the side, like... So, bring it down 1. Whoop! No cutting in line. There we go. Okay, and then we'll go up from here. 1, 2, 3. Turn this to the left. 1, 2, 3. And then we'll break these off 1 at a time. So 1, 2, and 3, like so. And we'll set this up as, there's only one type of resin, so we can just call this resin. Resin TX1. There's no organic resin, I think. There might have been something added with content update 1, but we'll call this resin TX2. And then resin TX3. And there we go. Another material manufactured. So I think that's what we're gonna call it for this one. We're at 5.5-ish hours. So if I can get enough frames while we do our outro here, let's take a look at the base that we have made today. We got quite a bit done. We unlocked the assembler. We got a few extra corporate levels for who? We got Future Health. We got Griffith's Blue. We set up manufacturing for liquid helium, for gothite powder, and for synthetic resin here. We also set up manufacturing for titanoferrite ingots and for wolfram steel ingots, as well as the factories that I built off-screen in between episodes here. So quite a lot of progress in today's episode. We still have quite a bit to go, but as we have seen, a lot of our factories are kind of streamlined now that all we have to really do is cargo receive our lower level components and set them up into individual manufacturing buildings here. We no longer have to do strings of intermediate components where we have to have like a fabricator and a furnace in line before we can hit a higher level manufacturer. We're kind of set up nicely so that we can just pipe in our immediate component ingredients and then manufacture them into our output ingredients and send them on up the line. So I think at this point we're going to kind of snowball towards the end of our manufacturing chain here. So hopefully we have we don't have too many points where we have to go back and refactor things like we're going to have to do next episode with our sulfuric acid. So that's what we're going to leave off for this one. So if you're still with us, thank you for watching. If you're enjoying this playthrough of StarRupture, hit like and subscribe. If you want to check out StarRupture for yourself, head on over to Steam and pick it up. And if you want to let me know what you think of the game so far, then hit the comments down below. But whatever you do, I'll see you right here again in the next one. So, until then, bye-bye.